Hey everyone, we'll let you know more later, but today's episode is brought to you by...
Did you hear Garrett?
I did. Catatar just asked in chat, no Garrett, and then Garrett started talking even though he's not here, and it was very interesting. So, yes, Joce, you did a thing. Nice job. Catatar, no Garrett today. He had some... I won't interrupt the Joce dance.
It's fine, I'm done.
Okay. Yeah, Garrett had some very sudden family stuff, as is our tradition around here with this last month. So
it's been a really crappy, few, I guess. Well, kind of
14 months. Really crappy
14 months. I was gonna say kind of since you started, and then I'm like, no, I don't want to put that on Hat.
It's kind of since me and also the global pandemic. It was mostly those two things. Yeah. So could be anything. Catatar, nice job on your first Hades clear. Which weapon? Hyproxlox, Hypent Poem.
You're talking about stuff, and I'm like,
Hades. It's a game. You should play it if you have time. You don't.
I really don't. I say that, but then I spent too much time playing WoW yesterday, just because I hadn't played in weeks, and then I was like, oh, I should just log in on my hunter and do the time walking or whatever. Many hours later, whoop-de-doo.
It's almost like WoW is a fun game.
Well, WoW is a time-consuming game, and it is structured in a way that makes you feel like you can't stop, but not in a good way. It's like you get a checklist of things that you have to do, and if you don't do them, then you feel bad. But that checklist is, first of all, very long, and second of all, just takes a lot of time. It takes time to travel from one place to another, and they took out the flight whistle, and then it takes time to kill stuff, and it's I don't want to just roll over things, but at the same time, when you tell me I have to fill up a bar to 100% and then I kill one elite dude and it gives me 5%, I'm just could be better.
Yeah. I believe we call this FOMO the game.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, and this is not a WoW show. This isn't the place to talk about WoW. This isn't even the show yet, but I have such a love-hate relationship with that game during Shadowlands. Some things feel really good, and some things feel like they're punching me in the nuts. And nobody likes that. And Catatar, you're right. They do keep just adding more and more and more, which takes more and more time. I haven't even touched PvP this expansion, and PvP is one of my favorite things. So I've felt beholden to a lot of other tasks based on rating requirements, and it means there's
Hearthstone
not
has more stuff
time.
than one person. Hearthstone has more stuff than one person can do, but it's different that you feel like you're meant to do one or two of the things that you enjoy, as opposed to WoW, which is just really good at showing you the carrot and then showing you the stick, and you just want to chase it. And that's with all of them, because there's so much to do, and all the things take way more time. And also, then you have to set up the social interactions, which are also
you have to do the group things. Yeah.
And just getting everyone in the same place at the same time with people that you know is complicated. And choosing to pug instead is also time-consuming, because you die to the first boss and the healer hurts out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I did see the thing about you have to do Keystone Master twice next season, and I'm just like, man, why? And I'm sure that over the course of you have to do Keystone Master once on every dungeon once on Tyrannical and every dungeon once on Fortified, so you can't just you can't just do them when they're on an easy week, as we call them. I don't
know if the dungeons have gotten better since BFA, but Fortified weeks were a nightmare in all of BFA.
Yep. I don't like Fortified weeks. Some people in my group do, but I don't. I prefer Tyrannical, because I like when bosses last longer, because then I feel like there's some cooldown management that comes into play more so than when it's on Fortified, and I don't find trash to be interesting. They call it trash for a reason. Anyways, again, this is not a WoW podcast. So Hat, you are recording?
I will be as soon as we start talking about this game.
Okay.
Yes. I have a red button. It's round.
Excellent.
It works.
Okay, and then so I have my chat room. I have my show notes. I have my hosting butterflies, so that's good.
Should be okay.
We figured out that. Oh, I know what I didn't set up, but I don't really have the time or inclination to do it right now. I didn't set up my stream deck. Normally, I have my buttons to push to switch all my scenes, so I'll just have to click like a normal person.
It'll be fine.
I know.
I have faith in your clicking ability. You just practiced on WoW. You're so accurate with the clicks again.
Oh, I know. Wait, I have to double check.
You said on your hunter? Is it marksmanship hunter?
No. I used to play. So I played marksman, and I really liked it because I liked lone wolf. And then they changed it, and I didn't like it, so I switched to survival, and I loved it when they made it melee in Legion, and then they changed it in BFA because people thought it was too complicated, but I liked it being complicated. And now I don't like it, so now I'm Beastmaster, and I don't really like it,
but
I like
BM
it
has been
more.
The most stable hunter spec.
Yeah, exactly. I like it more than Marksman, so, and I really don't like the way survival is now, so.
Yeah, if you liked it in Legion, you were one of the few people that did, because my understanding was that it was both complicated and underpowered.
Yes, it was both those things, but when you played it well, it was really good, but it was very difficult to play it well. It was kind of like that era's like Shadow Priest with like doing Surrender to Madness stuff. Like it was like you were always constantly like riding that edge, and if you fell off, then it was like you just tanked. But if you could like get your 6 stacks and then go, bah, 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 it was so good. But 6 stacks was like literally like microsecond timing. But oh man, it was so good.
And the difference is also Shadow Priest in EN was kind of the same way, except completely overpowered and insane.
Yeah. Whereas, like, if you could play Survival Hunter in Legion completely overpowered and insane, you were just as good as everybody else. you were like
you
average.
were working so much harder to do like so hard, only okay.
But
whereas meanwhile against Xavius, you were supposed to die, and Surrender made you die. And it's like, oh, I got you covered.
Okay, so but yeah, I really like that gameplay loop. That was the last time I can remember like playing a class that I really super enjoyed. Okay. Oh, I know what I was doing before I got distracted by WoW. Again, I want to make sure this is working. Okay, so the first one we want is that. There we go.
Yep, but my face is Mutanus.
Oh, I thought your camera would just automatically change, and it didn't. Whew, good thing I checked. Okay.
Yes. I don't know. I like this look.
Yeah. I think, okay, yeah.
This was me when I got home from work realizing that I didn't eat since breakfast.
Okay. You guys are going to see a little bit of how the sausage is made.
Don't say sausage in front of Mutanus. He's hungry.
Mutanus eats your sausage.
No? Oh. I see alt cropping.
There. Yeah, we're getting there.
Oh. I thought you were trying to put me in the Mutanus frame.
Not on purpose. How? Mini hat.
I feel smaller.
I hope I never make you feel small.
I've stood next to you before. I think that you have like, you're near 6 feet tall, right?
Yeah, I'm 5'12", but we don't talk about it.
So I'm that much minus 9 inches, which is shorter. Yeah. Also, I like that you said 5'12", which I believe. Yeah. And also, I like that you dated the show 0600.
Oh, I hadn't changed the date yet on the show notes template. No, I say 5'12" because when I say 6 feet, then it just like, I don't know, something like pops in people's brains. So I just say 5'12", and then they just like glance over how big that actually is.
You're 183 centimeters.
Yes. 185 actually.
Oh.
Which is not enough to get that extra inch. It's just shy.
I just Googled the conversion. Says 182.88 is okay. Never mind. Yes, just under.
Just.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Should we do a show?
We should do a show. We should. I think I'm ready.
Yeah.
My nerves are gone. Huh?
Did you retweet? I tweeted. You got to retweet it.
I tweeted.
I did. That's like most of what I contribute to the Hearthstone content scene. I can at least take care of that one.
I retweeted.
You did.
Okay, phone, get out of here. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, come on, nerves. You got this. It's just a podcast. You've done literally 417 of them for this show.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready? Because as soon as I click the intro scene, it's going to go right into it.
I'm recording.
Excellent. Then, the Angry Chicken records in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, we'll let you know more later, but today's episode is brought to you by Raycon Earbuds and Gabby. Get the same earbuds that Joce and me use, as well as 15% off all of Raycon's products by going to buyraycon.com/TAC and start saving on your car and homeowner's insurance by going to gabby.com/TAC. The Angry Chicken Hearthstone podcast is produced by amove.tv. Check out Amove TV for more podcasts covering Blizzard games. For more of Jocelyn's gaming podcasts, visit jossplays.com. And to find many more podcasts with Ridiculous Hat, follow @RidiculousHat on Twitter. Every episode of TAC is made possible thanks to our legendary patrons over at patreon.com/TAC.
Time's up. Let's do this.
Legendary!
You face Jaraxxus. You smell like a leper gnome. I knew it. So hot.
A podcast about Hearthstone and Battlegrounds. This is The Angry Chicken!
This is where the intro thing does like the fade out thing, but like I didn't have some cool way to make it work good, so I hope it worked. Hello everyone and welcome to The Angry Chicken. I am your host Joce. Garrett is out this week, unfortunately. He had last minute family things come up, so it's just me and my wonderful co-host Ridiculous Hat. Welcome, Hat. How you doing this week?
I'm doing well. It's been a week, but I heard my name in the intro. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah,
that was pretty great.
That make you feel pretty good. It all, as soon as Garrett decided to do that like voiceover in the intro, I'm like, ah, I feel so
it's
seen.
Nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
Yeah. And to answer your question, so for those unaware, I've worked for a large movie theater company for over a decade, for a long time, and here in the States, we are in the rise of vaccinations. I wouldn't call it post-COVID because there's still a lot of stuff going on, but it's but it definitely feels like people are getting back to normal things. And it's Memorial Day weekend here, and of course, shout out to everyone that served. Yeah, so thank you to everyone that served. We appreciate your sacrifice. But also, people like to go out on holiday weekends, especially when it rains. And it was really cold and rainy all weekend, like in the 50s Fahrenheit here. So we've been really busy, and my back hurts. And I'm definitely relearning how to do the movie thing. So it's the time is moving quickly until I get home, and then my body starts falling apart in pieces.
I'm sure a lot of us are going to be doing that over the coming months, is just trying to readjust and figure out how the heck we used to do stuff.
Yeah. It's definitely it felt familiar, but also it felt like, boy, I'm rusty. Boy, I don't know how to do this anymore. How about you? How's your week been?
It's been pretty good. It's been very quick. I don't know. It feels like we just recorded the show, and yet there's been so much news in the meantime. We're going to talk about everything that's been announced so far for Wailing Caverns. We're going to talk about some of the cards that have been announced. Some of the cards have been leaked. And yeah, we're going to talk about GMs because we had GMs this weekend, our final week of, I guess, the season. And now we've got playoffs. So there's so much has happened, but also it feels like we were here yesterday. So I don't even know.
It's definitely the waiting room for the Wailing Caverns.
Mm-hmm.
And we get that in 3 days. It's the release cycles now are so brief and sudden. And they said they're going to be reveals last week. Oh yeah, we're excited for a bunch of cards. 4 cards. See you after the long weekend. That means if there are 35 cards, and the set comes out on Thursday and there were none today, that means on Tuesday and Wednesday they're going to reveal 31 cards in 2 days.
Yes.
Seems sudden, abrupt even, and then they'll be in the game. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely coming at us fast and furious, and I know that even with this past reveal season, and I feel like for the maybe all the way back to Scholomance, maybe not quite that far, definitely for Darkmoon Faire, the release schedule has been quite smooshed, and I kind of like it. I feel like there's not enough time in that shortened release schedule for the hype to die, but you're right. Wailing Caverns is kind of weird because the long weekend's right in the middle. Like they gave us 7 days of hype and 3 of those days they took off.
Yes. And please, Blizzard employees, take your weekends.
Yes,
weekends
do.
are cool.
Absolutely. We understand. Yeah. You know, long weekends. Woohoo! Get those fireworks on. Let's go. Do you guys do fireworks? We do fireworks on our May long weekend. I don't know if you do fireworks.
We do it. That's July. That's on America weekend.
Okay.
But also Blizzard employees, if you want me to walk you through the scheduled tweet functionality, we can actually get some of those cards rolling out over the weekend if you wanted to. I like the compression, and since Scholomance I think was the start of the 3-week cycle. Ashes took longer because they made a new class and had to show us a bunch of green cards. Yeah. And also new rank ladder and also duplicate protector. Like they did that video that made Frodan talk about the next 5-10 years thing. Like that whole, you remember that Ashes pre-release day. Yeah. On Coin Concede when I did that, our news section alone was 8 pages in Google Docs.
Wow.
Like there was just so much going on. But then in Scholomance, I believe it was only 3 weeks. Same with Darkmoon Faire, and then Darkmoon Races. The day before, they're just like, every hour. Here's some cards.
Yeah. Which I'm glad that we're not doing that this time. We have at least a little bit to talk about on a Monday.
But I feel like 4-5 cards a day for a week wouldn't be all that crazy to do, and maybe it would give those of us who usually lean into Ixar's AMA, which he's taking time off for content, maybe they just feed us some content over the weekend so we don't have to deal with these leaks. You know.
Well, and I mean, we're going to talk about the leaks in a second, but I don't know. I feel like this was the leaks were somebody maybe pushing a button they shouldn't have too early. Who knows? As Deck Tech says in the chat room, can't trust computers. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
We'll see. We're just really excited to talk about new stuff.
We really, really are. So let's get into it. But before we do, let's thank our patrons over at patreon.com/tack. I am not Garrett, so I totally forgot to pull names of new patrons. So I'm really, really sorry, everyone. I'm going to thank you all, but not individually because that would take forever. But we are supported by our epic patrons over at patreon.com/tack. If you become a TAC patron, you get access to our Discord server, as well as early signups for our tournaments, which we will be doing a taco soon. Wink, wink. So yeah, if you guys like what we do, if you want to support the show, if you want to support Garrett, myself, and now our new host on the other way, there we go, Ridiculous Hat. I pointed the wrong way. Cameras are hard. Then do go on over to patreon.com/tac. So Hat, what do you think? Should we get into this week's Hearthstone news?
Before we do, I want to thank Lacey G for being our newest patron. Thank you so much, Lacey. We really appreciate your support.
That better be in the spreadsheet. If it's not, Garrett will have words.
Hello? I didn't look in the spreadsheet.
It's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
Best transition ever into the news, which is the mini set for Wailing Caverns has been announced.
We'll clean it in post. It'll be fine.
yeah,
it'll be fine. I have to insert the bumpers anyways. Nobody's gonna have any idea. They'll sound so fresh and clean and crisp.
It'll be so good. So we did get the announcement of the Wailing Caverns. That happened this past Thursday. It has 35 cards, as we expected, that are going to be for sale either for $14.99 or 2,000 gold on June 3rd, which is also the release date. We are getting 4 legendaries, 1 epic, 14 rares, and 16 commons. We also got the trailer. The trailer launched. I loved it. It showed us no cards. It told us nothing, but it was like 2.5 minutes of hilarity, especially if you're a WoW player. So if you haven't seen it, it was posted on their Twitter. We have it linked in our show notes as well. And it features 5 mercenaries from the kind of, I guess, Hearthstone lore that we're dealing with this year. That's like maybe supposed to go with the mode that we might maybe get, Shrug.
Oh yeah, that mode's supposed to come out. I mean, that's supposed to be, they said it was phase 1, which is during the release cycle for this expansion.
Right.
Which means July would be my guess, but also they've said not a lot about it, and they didn't have a lot to say about it before, so we don't have any information about when it's coming. But I would bet on a delay, because it seems ambitious, and they're being very quiet about a new giant game mode.
Yeah, I think if we were going to get anything, we would have had more hints by now. Kind of maybe when we got the last Battlegrounds update, they'd be like, hey, here's our big Battlegrounds patch, and also here's some news about that thing we promised. Like, so as to not like moosh it together with all of the mini set stuff, right?
But when they did Battlegrounds, when they did Duels, it's like, hey, we're announcing this today. By the way, it's playable in the client now if you get the pre-order. So that was for the 3rd set. Maybe this will be the pre-order for the 2nd set, for the 2nd expansion this year. And that could still be in the July timeframe. We've heard nothing. But also, time is hard to remember. It's been 2 months, exactly, since Barons came out. We wouldn't be expecting anything more for another 4 to 6 weeks anyway, so maybe we're just jumping the gun. Maybe it's just around the corner.
Maybe, but I think at the same time, it's kind of hard because they announced it kind of question mark with the BlizzCon line, right? Like they gave us a name and a logo and a vague idea.
And then Bentley and Kibler talked about it verbally with no footage at a table, and everyone thought it was Book of Mercenaries until all the devs on Twitter was like, no, different mercenary thing.
Yeah. And then we were like, Slay the Spire, and they were like, yes, no.
Yeah.
So
it's like that, except not.
Except
the vibes
totally
that I've gotten
different.
so far are that it's Hearthstone Pokemon. That's the vibe I've gotten so far. But
yeah, so we'll have to see. But the mercenaries themselves are in the game right now in various forms. We've got some as battleground heroes. I'm sure we're going to see more as battleground heroes. But like I said, they were actually featured as adventurers going into the Wailing Caverns dungeon. And again, we saw the 5 Horde heroes because they're kind of featuring the Horde side during the Barons expansion cycle. So I expect we're going to see, and we'll talk about it a little later in terms of like WoW lore and where we think things are going and everything else. We'll talk about that in a bit, about when we're going to see some Alliance characters. But on Thursday, so again, June 3rd, we are going to be able to purchase the mini set. You can also start to obtain these cards through the Forged in the Barrens card pack. So if you choose not to actually purchase the set outright, you can still open them in your packs, which you can earn or buy in whichever way you would like to. They have said we're going to see minions featuring spell schools, which we're going to have a few for you that they did reveal last week. We're going to talk about those in a couple minutes. We're also going to be summoning tutus with bonus effects like Poisonous Taunt, Divine Shield, etc. And then, we are going to see these cards in action in the GM playoffs this weekend too. We're going to talk about GMs later in the show, but they're just like, launches on Thursday, playoffs are on Saturday. Good luck. It's pretty crazy.
Apparently, Hearthstone Esports tweeted that they got super practice accounts. They've been playing the mini set already. We don't know when we got them. That is true, yeah. But yeah, they have like a week of prep. So also, if you thought theory crafting streams were weird, what about decks that GMs have actually been playing for a week for people to net deck the day after the thing comes out.
Well, I mean, so it's really hard because we don't know when they actually got the accounts, and we didn't know, and the Hearthstone team didn't know who was actually going to make it into the playoffs until Sunday, right? When everything had played, or like yesterday, when everything had finished up. So I'm wondering if they just gave all the GMs access to accounts with the mini sets. Like, I would kind of hope so, just for, if nothing else, like volume of players. Like, you could, if you, I'm assuming, want to play against a practice partner, that's cool if you're both GMs, but what if your practice partner didn't make playoffs? Or what if you don't have a GM practice partner? What if your practice partner is somebody else? Like, do you just sit in a queue for 25 minutes? Like, how does this work? I need more details.
I would guess there's probably not a lot of pressing the play button on the super account Tournament Realm server. I would guess that the expectation that they play against other people on their friends lists and that they're all automatically in the friends list. And also they kind of need people that aren't in playoffs and aren't in contention to be playtest partners, because otherwise you're either playtesting against people from other servers at weird times, or you're playtesting against people and sharing your tech as to what you need to do to beat them.
So, which is where I was going to get to, is like, if you're playing other people that are going to be in your playoff, like, I don't know if you'd want to do that. Maybe they gave them like an account and then said, here, you can bring 2 of your closest friends as practice partners. I don't know. Anyways, doesn't really matter. That's the inner working of esports. Who knows how it works? Nobody does. So, like I mentioned,
theoretically Blizzard does, but unclear.
Theoretically. I was just gonna let that go, and Hat was like, no, we're gonna call him out. Let's do it.
It's what Garrett would have wanted.
It's true, he would have. So I wanted to give you guys just like a little bit of kind of context for Wailing Caverns if you guys aren't WoW players, or if you don't play Horde side, because again, this is a very Horde centric kind of area. So from the actual like dungeon journal in Warcraft, it says, recently a night elf druid named Gnarlex discovered a network of underground caverns within the heart of the Barrens. Dubbed the Wailing Caverns, these natural caves were filled with steam fissures which produced long, mournful wails as they vented. Gnarlex believed he could use the cavern's underground springs to restore lushness and fertility to the Barrens, but to do so would require siphoning the energies of the fabled Emerald Dream. Once connected to the dream, however, the druid's vision somehow became a nightmare. Soon the Wailing Caverns began to change. The waters turned foul, and the once docile creatures inside metamorphosed into vicious, deadly predators. It is said that Gnarlex himself still resides somewhere inside the heart of the labyrinth, trapped beyond the edges of the Emerald Dream. Even his former acolytes have been corrupted by their master's waking nightmare, transformed into wicked druids of the Fang. Dun, 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 dun.
Good harmonizing. We didn't plan that. That was unplanned.
So yeah, it really it's this kind of oasis within the desert that is the Barrens, that like the Dungeon Journal says has been corrupted by the Emerald Nightmare. They kind of hinted at that as well in the Hearthstone trailer. Seems that they're sticking, much like the Barrens, they're sticking pretty close to like World of Warcraft lore, which is something I didn't think they were going to do after all of their, here's our crazy take on everything. This is very WoW.
And this whole year has been, so far, I mean, we've only seen the first expansion.
Yeah.
Bentley said in BlizzCon Line, taking it back to its roots, and really like adding spell schools that's just specs in Hearthstone.
Yeah.
That's WoW specs in Hearthstone. And the archetypes we've seen so far this year as well are very much classic Hearthstone archetypes. You know, Control Warrior, Control Priest, like not quite Handlock, but pretty close. Only one that's missing is Zoo. But, you know, we've got all the other stuff that we're used to playing. It's very much bringing things back to how they were at the beginning of both games. And I would guess the second expansion is going to be very much Stormwind focused. And Catchtar was saying in chat, Westfall, the Dead Mines. I didn't play WoW during this time, but these are all names that I've heard before.
So do we want to talk about that? Do we want to just go in a little bit to what we expect from kind of the Alliance version of this? Because we kind of went Baron's Wailing Caverns, and you're right, Westfall and Dead Mines is kind of like the Alliance version of that, if you were to like flip it one for one. And now that we know the mini set is based on a dungeon, that kind of means you gotta do Westfall, because the other, like Red Ridge Mountains and Darkshore, which would be kind of other zones around that same sort of level, don't have dungeons in them. Westfall is the only one that has that correlation between a zone and a dungeon. So that was my guess too. And I don't know if that's good or bad, that like we feel like we've figured it out already. Maybe we haven't, but I feel like maybe we have.
And I got to give credit to Kajitar and chat for that. I didn't play WoW during this time at all. I love hearing this sort of things because I don't have a lot of this context. I especially don't have context for Alliance because, Alliance.
Right?
Yeah. So, and would that mean that the third expansion is probably going Alterac Valley?
Could be. My guess was also potentially Wintergrasp, because basically Alterac Valley and Wintergrasp are both really good guesses based on the artwork that we got with the roadmap that came out. It's a snowy location where the little normal like orb that we see with the different like kind of preview or hint or whatever, the gem in the middle is all like smashed up and exploding with red and blue. So it does very much feel like some sort of a battleground situation. Wintergrasp is very Wrath of the Lich King oriented, and you're right, Alterac Valley is like earlier on in time. So if we're going with these like early WoW, like you said, back to WoW or back to WoW's roots, back to Hearthstone's roots, whatever, then I think, yeah, that would also be a really good guess. But I do think we're going to see some sort of snowy battleground motifs in the final expansion of this year.
Is it true that original Alterac Valleys took like 24 hours? Was that a real thing?
Yes, that was a real thing. I did not play at that time, but they could be active, like the same battleground could be active over an entire weekend. Yeah. They have tried and failed to kind of replicate that, but I think it's also okay.
Yeah, we can move on from that.
Exactly.
You don't have to do that.
So if we do get a Westfall / Dead Mines expansion and mini set, then, I mean, we only just said goodbye to Edwin, but he's the end boss of the Dead Mines. So could we maybe see a reworking of Van Cleef?
Or Edwin, the something.
Yeah, something along the like a Edwin Defias leader or something. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, Vanessa is the new one, but we also Vanessa's the new one, but Edwin was the original. So again, it depends if we're looking at like vanilla, which I would argue yes we are, versus like new post Kata rework stuff. But so Van Cleef is in there. We've also got some like bosses that are very iconic Hearthstone cards already. Captain Greenskin is a boss in the Dead Mines. Sneed Shredder is a boss in the Dead Mines. So we've kind of already pulled a little bit from that well, but you never know. We'll have to see. I'm looking forward to it though. I think I'm really liking just this very Warcraft centric year, but I'm a huge WoW lore nerd, so this just makes me really happy.
I would guess as well that next year we probably go back to the Hearthstone originals and could very well. We're gonna see a return to League of Evil versus League of Explorers. Yes, the legal Eagles. We're gonna see a return to the leagues, to Reno and Rafam and company.
Really?
That's 100% happening.
Like
they're way too
100%
popular
like,
to not do.
Okay. I was like 100% like Hat opinion or 100% like Blizzard confirmed, because those are two different 100%s.
Okay. I feel very confident it is an opinion, but Dean's already made tweets and allusions to some year they will do a Highlander core set. That's the year where we're going to see these characters come back, and the year is going to be about them again. Because I think the cohesive Year of the Dragon, even though the cards themselves had some ups and downs, I think the cohesive year-long narrative really worked. And you don't hire someone that's as talented as Matt London unless you're going to be telling these year-long stories. Book of Mercenaries is already tying in, and Mercenaries the non-literate version, the game mode version. All of them has the same characters, right? The set has the same characters. The book has the same characters. Theoretically, the mode has the same characters. This is clearly some kind of larger narrative.
Yeah, which they kind of alluded to at the beginning, or I guess at the beginning of the Hearthstone year at BlizzConline. They did talk a little bit about doing an overarching theme with smaller stories. And I feel like, especially since they're going back to the well of WoW lore, I kind of feel like maybe this is them bridging the gap between Dave and Matt. Because with Dave leaving, like, he was so instrumental in all of the Year of the Dragon stuff, right? Like, all that storytelling, that was just Dave all over it. And then, you know, like, we've got Matt now, which is awesome, but I don't think that we've seen stuff he's worked on yet. So I kind of feel like Dave kind of ramped down and they went, okay, what do we do for story? WoW's got a lot of story. Let's go there. And then, you know, now we're going to see maybe some more original Hearthstone narratives going forward. But I mean, I'm down for this kind of interim year.
Yeah, well, and Matt is doing all the Book of Mercenary stuff. Like, I think he wrote all that. So seeing his original characters and the original characters of the team, I'm certain everybody was involved in them. They definitely have fleshed out personalities. And also, shout out to my boy Guff Runetotem, who is God. Like, I want to be his friend. I want to be his friend. I want to, like, go to the movies with him and just watch a thriller, and he'll be surprised at every turn, be like, oh, I did not see that coming. And you like, yeah.
But literally everybody else did, and they're just like, how? Like, he's just, I feel like I see pieces of me in him, and I love it. Like, his line at the very end of the trailer is, and I don't even want to say it, because if you haven't seen the trailer, I don't want to spoil it, but I laughed so hard and so long. Like, I needed that today. And I hadn't watched the trailer until I was doing these show notes, and then I heard it, I was like, "Pow, what?" I had to go back and listen again, and I'm like, yeah, that was just perfect. So I really, really liked it. I really enjoyed the trailer. I'm excited about all the stories that we're gonna see. And then we did have a kind of like preview image, and I don't actually think I put it into the, no, I didn't. I definitely didn't. No. Yeah. Oh, fail. Joce fail. Whoops. Oh, well. There's going to be lots of those today. Don't you worry, guys. But yeah, they did put out like a preview image of the 4 legendary cards that we're going to see. So we've already seen one that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, but there's 3 more legendary cards that are coming and have not yet been revealed. 1 warrior card, 1 druid card, and 1 neutral card. I'm 99% sure I know what 2 of them are, the druid card and the warrior card, but I have no idea what the third one is. So just based on Wailing Caverns WoW lore, I'm pretty sure the warrior card is Kresh, because he's basically like the first boss in Wailing Caverns, and he's a giant blue turtle, and the warrior art is a giant blue turtle. So I'm pretty sure I nailed that one. Yes, Hat has linked it in the chat room. Thank you very much.
Yeah. That does look like a very big turtle, so I think that one's going to be hard to miss.
Yeah. And then if you look at the druid one, which is the 3rd card in the promo image, I'm pretty sure that's Lady Anacondra. And she is basically, there's multiple druids as bosses within the Wailing Caverns, but she specifically has that kind of like silvery, light purpley, bluey kind of hair with they all wear very similar like purple and gold armor, but like she's got that hair going on. So I'm pretty sure that that's who our druid is going to be.
And then what's that 4th one?
I don't know. This one has me literally stumped because the art on it almost looks like a spell, like something is happening to the main character in that portrait, and I do not know what is happening. So I mean, like it could be Narlax, like we kind of were talking about / alluded to in the Dungeon Journal reading, but at the same time that encounter is really tied to the Murloc card that we've already seen. So I don't really know, like, if they're going to do both of those as legendaries. I mean, maybe they will. I don't know. But I think you could be. That's the best one, I think, or the best guess, I think, is that it is Gnarlax, because then it would also make sense to have that and the Murloc, because they're so iconic, be neutral cards that everyone could play with.
And it seems like they really don't want to miss any of the big characters, so like
Yeah.
I don't know, it makes sense to me. I googled Gnarlax while you were talking, and it looks like a purple dude, and this looks like a purple dude, so I don't know.
This dude's in green, actually, so
Well, no, I mean, like purple
actually,
skin with the green.
Oh yeah, Night Elf, yeah.
Yeah. I found an image on WoW Wiki of an awoken Gnarlax, and it looks pretty similar.
Maybe that is who we're gonna see. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, they do look fairly similar. So maybe that is our final card. But yeah, he does look like he's, like I said, it looks almost like it would be spell art. He looks like he's under the effects of or being influenced by some sort of a spell, which makes sense again with the Emerald Nightmare taking over his mind. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the card reveals. It's gonna come in, I guess tomorrow and Wednesday. We're gonna get them all. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. But before we get into the cards themselves, guys, we are going to take a very quick break to thank our sponsors. So just hang on. We will be right back. Whether it's for work or play, a lot of us are going to be on the move again this summer. So my advice to you, take your Raycons with you. Whether you're playing Hearthstone on the go or listening to your favorite podcast, a pair of Raycon wireless earbuds in your ears can make all the difference. You get crisp, powerful beats at half the price of other premium audio brands. Raycons look great and feel even better. They come in a range of cool colors and with customizable gel tips included for a comfortable in-ear fit. Raycons are built to go wherever you go with quick and seamless Bluetooth pairing and a compact charging case. Did you guys know that podcasters also have favorite podcasts? One of mine is called Crime Junkie. I can and do listen for hours. I was outside gardening in the beautiful weather this week, which we don't get a lot of in Canada, and I was about to listen to 8 episodes in a row without my Raycons ever having to recharge. Not only did the batteries last longer than I did, but they fit so well that they didn't fall out into the dirt even once. So listen up. Raycon's offering 15% off all their products for our listeners, and here's what you've got to do to get it. Go to buyraycon.com/tack. There you'll get 15% off your entire Raycon order, and it's such a good deal, you'll want to grab a pair and a spare. That's 15% off at buyraycon.com/tack. That's buyraycon.com/tack.
Hey everyone, Garrett here. Joce and Hat will be back in a second, but I wanted to talk to you about how you can get a better insurance with Gabby. Everyone knows I live my life a quarter mile at a time, but that doesn't mean I need to overpay for my car insurance, or my homeowner's insurance for that matter. Gabby is the one true comparison platform with fast, verifiable quotes, not ballpark guesses. You can use your current policy to find a better policy, comparing your current coverage with 40 of the top insurance providers like Progressive, Nationwide, and Travelers, and it's all in the same place. That's what I did. I've been with Geico since I got my Focus back in 2018. I went to Gabby.com/TAC. All I had to do was log into my Geico account through Gabby, and bam, it turns out Safeco will save me $218 on the exact same coverage. Now, Gabby customers save $961 per year on average, and they'll never sell your info, so you're not going to get more annoying spam or robocalls. You don't need to worry about that. Put your policy to the test like I did. Get a better insurance with Gabby. It's totally free to check. There's no obligation, and you support the Angry Chicken while doing it. So go to Gabby.com/TAC. That's spelled GABI.com/tack. And once again, that's Gabby.com/TAC. We thank them for their support. Back to Joce and Hat.
And as always, we thank you guys for checking out the sponsors that support the Angry Chicken. That brings us to our super awesome card reveals. Yay! It's card reveal time! Even though we only have 4 to talk about, I'm still excited.
I'm excited and kind of hungry.
Well, I mean, does that mean that you would like to devour something?
I could go for a well-seasoned ticketus right now.
Yeah.
That would really hit the spot.
So what we are talking about is the very first legendary from the set that has been revealed. It is Mutanus the Devourer. It's a gigantic Murloc with many, many very pointy teeth. It is a legendary neutral minion, 7 mana 4/4 with a battle cry that reads, eat a minion in your opponent's hand, gain its stats. This is a Murloc that is giving me crab vibes, you guys, and I am... I don't know. I'm okay with it because it's 7 mana. I think if it was any less than that, it would just be bad. Like, I mean, bad like everyone would like play it if it was like 5 or 6 mana. Like everyone would play it. So this way it's 7, maybe it doesn't go in every deck.
So, and to answer the mechanical questions, this has been clarified on Twitter by Celestalon, a friend of the show, of course, where it doesn't, the minion that it eats is just gone. It does not count as dead. You can't bring it back with a Psychopomp or whatever. It does not count as discarded, so you can't bring it back with a whatever that 6/6 is that gets you back discarded cards. It's gone. It's a gone thing. So
wow, not even discarded. I mean, it makes sense to me that it wouldn't go into your graveyard, air quotes. But I didn't realize that it wouldn't even count as like a discarded card. I mean, I guess like the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. But I mean, it's just gone. It's not even like dirty rat onto your board gone. Like it's forever poof. It's like Reno poofed.
Yeah. Yes, it's Reno poofed or functioning the same as well to overdrawing it. It's basically the same thing as burning it off the top of your deck.
Except that you might have been holding it in your hand for a really long time because you were very specifically trying to combo it. Like when you've drawn your whole entire rest of your deck and all your cards have lifesteal on it, not pointing any fingers, but...
Yeah, that's a very specific concern.
It is very specific.
Yeah.
I totally messed up an Elucia turn when I was playing Priest versus Demon Hunter, and I definitely didn't play out their cards properly, and then I was just even more salty, and he was like emoting at me, and I'm like, stop, I know I ruined it, stop. I know what I did.
It's okay. Can't hurt you here.
I know.
And this
so
will be your friend
scarred.
for the future. So how do you feel about this? Because I feel like my crystal ball prediction, if I look in my Sir Sapiens, is that we're going to get emails about this card and tweets about this card. But how do you feel about it right now in this moment?
I feel like it's okay. Like I said, it's costed 7 mana, so there's going to be a lot of decks where this just won't even, like, it's way too expensive. They don't want the game to get that far. They won't use it. So you're not going to see it in every game. And that's always potentially the problem, right? That's when you start getting too close to Ziliax, where everybody's playing it no matter what they're trying to do. Like, why not? So I think that this is probably riding that neutral line where you want it playable, but not too playable. I definitely understand what you're saying. I think we are 100% going to see tweets and Reddit posts and Discord messages and emails and everything about this card, because the times you're going to remember that it was in your opponent's deck is when you are playing a very specific combo deck and they ate your card and it ruined your entire win condition. And that's what you're going to instantly go to your favorite social media of choice and you're going to write a post about it. So yeah, I think this is going to be a very feels bad card for the person it gets played against. And I think very rarely is it going to feel bad to play, because most of the time, if you're playing against somebody who's playing a control deck, or if you're playing against a combo deck, you have a really good chance by turn 7 to be eating something big, right? Like, and getting a pile of stats out of it. You're never going to play this against somebody that only plays 1 and 2 mana cards, right? So I mean, the worst beat you're going to get in those situations is when you play this and that combo deck hasn't drawn their key minion yet and it just whiffs and it's a 7-mana 4/4 because they had no minions in their hand anyway. Like, sometimes that's going to happen, but if you know the deck you're playing against, you know the matchup, then that probably shouldn't happen unless they're drawing terribly anyways, and then you're probably just going to win even though you played a 7-mana 4/4.
Or a 7-mana whatever, based on what it eats.
Well, no, but I mean, even if it doesn't eat anything, I'm saying, like, if your opponent is playing a combo deck that revolves around minions and they've gone far enough into the game that you feel like they should have it, and you whiff and they don't have it, then you're just like, psh, I'm golden, let's go, right? Like, they're drawing very badly at that point.
Yeah, this is strange. This is a strange card. So the questions that I have are, who wants to play it? Because if you're an aggressive deck, you don't want to play this. You want to kill your opponent.
Right.
So you have to want to and be able to survive until turn 7 and have the game go until turn 7. Then you have to want to and be able to play this on turn 7 or whenever you do and not be dead that turn because it has no taunt or anything like that. You have to play it. It takes away a resource that has nothing to do with the current state of the board. So you need the current state of the board to not matter or not be relevant enough that playing whatever this is and eating something matters. And then you have to want the game to go longer after that. So it's really something that you're only going to want to play in an attrition-based control strategy, I think. And that's the dream here, is to make control viable in a format with Ticketus and Il'gynoth. Much like Elucia tried to, this is less blunt than Elucia, because Elucia is really only for breaking up combos. This is better against a minion-like control deck. It's because I'm going to want to play this. Rattlegore just got a lot worse. Because if you're playing all removal spells in Rattlegore now is not reliable because your opponent just gonna have a snack and then make a 7-mana 13/13. Ticketus got a lot worse because that deck really rounds out at like Militia and Ticketus, and then Jirax is not a minion. Talon is very popular right now, so some people are gonna pop Talons and then eat your Liadrin or your Alex or your Illidari Inquisitor or whatever. But in a more proactive, tempo-focused meta, then you're not going to see a lot of this because you're going to die if you try and play it. And if you're a tempo proactive deck, you're not going to want to play this because it costs 7. You draw this in your opening hand instead of drawing 1s and 2s, and like it's terrible. Yeah. I don't even think you would play it in Rogue, even though you can like Shadow Step it and Tengu it. That's going to be in a Trollden video. I'm excited to see that. It's not going to be good, but it's going to be fun. But I think that this will go in decks that are trying to really slow the game down, and I don't know if those decks are going to exist in a 6-set meta without cards like this, so I'm glad they're trying it. But if those decks are good, this might make them a little bit too good, and also the mirrors are going to be kind of awful, kind of terrible if it's based on Mutanus hits.
So I guess if you're in a mirror and you know there's a really good chance your opponent has this, or you're just slamming this on 7. You're not trying to be cute and cheeky. You're basically trying to get this down as soon as possible to eat theirs, right? Like, this is some Murloc on Murloc devouring action.
Yeah, and if your best hit, if we get to a format where the best thing you can do is Mutanus, something's gone wrong and they will fix it, because that is not how this is supposed to go. But this is really a concession that you need some kind of neutral safety valve in case control becomes completely unplayable. This is the way to make it more playable, but also it's how control decks kind of prey on each other, and how aggressive decks can win by control decks being forced to run these slow tech cards, these Elysiana equivalents, and then drawing a bunch of 7s and 8s and not having enough removal spells.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird equalizing format. I don't think that it ends up seeing a lot of play in more evolved formats, but if you think about the format we have right now, the best early game aggressive threat was Crab Rider, and they nerfed it. So like you could get away with playing this in Rush Warrior if you wanted to. Like you could play that. You could probably fit this in Libram Paladin or something, because right now decks don't have 30 good cards right now because the format's so small. So you could sneak this into anything that's going for a little bit of a longer game plan and just wreck somebody's day. Like that's a thing you could do.
And you know how much control decks like to wreck somebody's day. So yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing. So I think overall we're going to have to wait and see, as we always say, what the rest of the set holds. But I think this is a good addition to the game for the intended purpose. We'll have to see if it sticks to that intended purpose or if something about this is stupid broken, but I don't know. I think it feels like it's pretty good to me. I like to give slower decks more tools, except for Demon Hunter. So yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone else can have all the tools.
Yeah. I don't know if this will be good. I think it will be popular. I think that people will like it. But also, you know what else is not that great but popular is Ticketus. And that's not maybe the most loved card in Standard. I think that it's not the most loved card in Standard.
It definitely is not, and it's also not great, and you can see it coming a mile away, and you know what's gonna happen, but you can't help it, you can't stop it until Thursday. So
Yes.
yeah, I think that having some ways to fight back against those feel bad moments and giving your opponent a feel bad moment is probably what they're going for here, and I think it's going to play out that way in a lot of cases. So but sometimes you're just going to have a 7-mana 4/4 and that's going to be terrible. So yeah, I think that this is good. It should exist. We'll have to see if it, like you said, the 6 expansion meta, it might not see much play, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, if you are a priest and you Elucia and you get their Mutanus, or if a priest Elucias you and you get their Mutanus, don't play it. You're eating your own cards. Do not cast it.
That's fair. That's fair. Man,
Yeah,
Elucia
very
is
important.
mind bending.
Yes. Well, mind rending. Yeah.
So we also had 3 cards that very much fit a theme that were announced on Thursday, and these are the Dungeoneers, and I think it is a fairly safe statement to say each class is probably going to get one of these. I would say they're all exactly the same with a different class background and then a slightly different and yet related effect. So all of these Dungeoneers are 3-mana 2/3s. The first one we're going to talk about is the Primal Dungeoneer, which is a rare shaman, 3-mana 2/3, with a battle cry that reads, draw a spell. If it's a nature spell, also draw an elemental. So we're getting some targeted draw in shaman. Good, bad,
But
or meh?
wait, what class? What class is doing what now?
Shaman. Shaman is drawing spells.
Shaman draw?
Yeah.
This is a mistake. This is for a different class, right? Is this a rogue card? Is there like a misprint?
Yeah, I think maybe it was supposed to have a different background and somebody just used the paint bucket in the wrong part at Team 5.
Yeah, and then they just said, you know what? Screw it, ship it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we'll get 10 of these because
You
my
don't think
guess is
we'll get 10?
we'll get 7 because nature spell, holy spell, frost spell, we'll get fell, we'll get fire, we'll get arcane maybe. But
I see.
these are key to the schools. So
But there's some for Druid, for example, uses nature spells as well. You don't think that they'll just reuse those spell tags?
maybe.
Like
My guess would be that we get one
class
per
does
spell tag, but
have-
yeah.
Every class does have some sort of named spell school, right? Like every class uses
Rogue
something.
doesn't. Rogue and warrior do not.
Oh. Huh.
Rogue is very stabby, and warrior is very
Rogue is very
shieldy.
stabby.
and
And
warrior
their-
shieldy.
like,
Yeah,
their
I don't think they
poisons
really
aren't
have.
nature spells?
The poisons are nature spells. That's true. Oh God, don't make poison rogue better. Please don't make poison rogue better.
I'm
If
just
it's
saying,
draw
like,
a nature spell, draw a weapon, I'm uninstalling. I'm uninstalling the game. Do not do it.
Yeah, but warrior off the top of my head, I don't remember. Chat room, I'm sure will tell me if they actually do have a named spell school as of right now, and who knows, they might be getting a couple of spells. Maybe. Not that like Frost Warrior is a thing, but now that I say, well, I guess that's kind of Death Knights, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. So it's warrior plus magic equals Death Knight.
Yes. Yeah. So, but Kashatar in the chat room is also saying instead of draw a spell, maybe it'll be draw a weapon. But as I said, these Dungeoneers so far that we've seen have been literally like copy paste the first part of their battle cry, which all of them are 3-mana 2/3s with the battle cry draw spell. So then there's a condition afterwards, but I think it would be really odd to see like 9 Battlecry draw a spell and then warrior draw a weapon.
Yeah. It's tough to say. I mean, again, we've seen 4 official cards. We don't know what we're missing. We only know what we have here. It seems like a reasonably informed guess that we get a cycle of these, but also they've done incomplete cycles. Like there's
True.
no the primes are uneven. I think there's one class that didn't get a dormant minion. I think Shaman didn't get a dormant minion, for example. So they're not as committed anymore to a cycle as
Everybody
single class.
has to get it. Yeah.
Yeah. But these are very evocative, and we're in a dungeon, we're dungeoneering,
And at first I thought maybe it was only going to be the 5 that we saw in the trailer, but we don't actually see a priest in the trailer. We've got a mage, a warlock, a shaman, a druid, and a warrior in the trailer. And so now we've seen a priest dungeoneer, so that again makes me think that maybe we're going to get a full set, but maybe we don't. Who knows? So let's talk about the Primal Dungeoneer specifically. Like we mentioned, it is draw for shaman. It is very specifically spell draw, but also you could potentially get 2 cards off of this because you could also draw an elemental. So will we finally see some elemental shaman overloady stuff?
It almost does not matter what we do because this card is great. It's super good.
Is it enough to make shaman show up in GM?
Oh, well, let's not go nuts here. Let's not,
okay. I want to know on a scale of like 1 to GM how excited I should be.
So
like maybe meme ladder. Dumpster legend.
We
perhaps?
might be non-meme ladder. If GMs were next week, I could see people testing shaman with only a week of testing in the closed pool, or however long they had, maybe only since Monday. I don't know. I wouldn't bet on a whole new archetype emerging that quickly. But the following things are nature spells and shaman. 1, all the burn cards. 2, lightning bloom. 3, that's enough. So like, oh no, I will draw either
fair.
damage or fast mana. That is acceptable. Elementals, Cage Match Custodian, or the other ones. So either we tutor burn and a weapon, which those are synergistic, or like mana and a bunch of elementals, and you could easily draw into the 4 mana 2/6 taunty whirlwindy boy into Lilypad Lurker, which is big now. It's so big. It's a 5/6. It's huge.
I know I've said this before, but I feel like I can't say it enough. It is my favorite art of the expansion.
Yes.
I want shaman and that card specifically to see more play because I love it.
Yes, it's good. And so, like, the Primal Dungeoneer is going to see play. Will it be good enough for Shaman? I am not going to stake any kind of statement on Shaman being playable ever because I have been burned too many times to do that. But nature spells good, elementals good, drawing cards good, 3 mana 2/3 draw 2 things that you put in your deck on purpose to make sure you draw both of them. This is what we've definitely needed in Shaman. I don't know if this is enough. We have to see the other 2 cards, but this is a big step in the right direction, and Shaman fans should be very happy to see it.
So let's talk about Devout Dungeoneer. So this is the priest card. It is the 3 mana 2/3 rare with a battle cry draw spell. If it's a holy spell, reduce its cost by 2. Do we think this is going to see play in priest? Because I feel like maybe they don't need it.
So you've actually been playing some priest lately.
Yeah, I have, and I don't think I need it.
Would you say you've been running out of cards? Because when I've played priest, that has been the other problem.
Yeah.
I have too many.
And I don't know what to do with them. And sometimes I just play them so I don't overdraw stuff. Like, I don't think I need this.
And the holy spells, shaman and nature spells, they don't really have a lot going on. There are a few spells you can't play. Like, you can't play Devolving Missiles and Primordial Studies are the big ones that stand out to me with Primal Dungeoneer. Those are big losses, but, like, you still get to keep your Dunk Tanks and your Torrents and your Lightning Bolts and your Lightning Blooms and so on and so forth.
Yeah, you're lightning anythings, really.
Yeah. But not getting to play Insight or Thrive in the Shadows kind of sucks. Is Palm Reading holy?
Well, I mean, you could play them, right? It's just that then the battle cry is just draw a spell from your deck and you don't get the if it's part of it. But I mean, if you don't want elementals or all you're looking for is targeted spell draw, like, it feels to me in Shaman that one targeted spell draw is probably enough, and the elemental is just an extra super bonus. Whereas like if I'm looking at the priest, I'm like, I don't really want to draw spells anyways. I'm already drawing or generating a lot of things, like, and then also reducing its cost by 2, sure, but by the time I'm doing anything, I got 10 mana anyways.
And you, like, if you hit something good off the holy reduction, if we have holy spells worth reducing, I think this is valuable. It just doesn't seem to align with what we're doing in priest right now. So we'd need some other key tools to really go in the holy direction, because you can't play palm reading or hysteria. And those are important cards.
Yeah.
So maybe this is designed for a priest that like plays a bunch of holy buff spells, and that could be cool, but we're not there yet.
We're not that
a lot
priest.
less excited about this one. Yeah. Less excited about this one. It could see play, and keep in mind, this is a card I'm excited to play in a year after Sethic is gone and after Renew is gone and all those stuff. Then we'll need something else, and this could be that. But I think right now I'm less high on it.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, is that this is the kind of card when I see it, I feel like not now, but it's not bad, so maybe later. The kind of thing that once we have a rotation, this would probably, especially in that first expansion of the year, right? When we're in that 4 expansion meta, then I think there's a ton of room for this card. So I think, yeah, this one's more of a, yeah, you're good. I see you. Just not now. You wait. So between yes, put it in all the time, I love it, and maybe later, where does Frostweave Dungeoneer fall? This one is the 3 mana 2/3/4 mage. Battlecry, draw a spell. If it's a frost spell, summon 2 1/1 elementals that freeze.
Well, I hope this expansion has frost spells, because do you know what the current hits are for this? And I use the term hits very loosely.
Brain freeze?
That's the good one.
Cone of cold?
That is a card you could put in your deck if you really wanted to.
I'm trying to think of things that would be frost spells.
There are 7.
There's
You've gotten
7?
2 of them so far.
Oh, okay.
So
is Frost Nova still a thing, or did that get
No,
swooshed
thank
out?
goodness, that's long
that's
gone.
out. Yeah, no, that's out. Blizzard's out. Man, I don't know. Hit me. Let's go.
All right. Flurry, the ranked spell, which I think is pretty good here. I think it's all right, but it's not a card we're currently playing because there's no, you'd have to draw it and have a reason to use it, which we don't. Brain Freeze, Snap Freeze, 1 mana freeze a minion if it's already frozen, destroy it.
Oh, destroy it, right.
Yeah, which is totally a thing we've ever done. Yeah. By the way, for those of you that have not been playing in a while, I believe it was in TCC, they printed a card called Shatter, which was just 2 mana, destroy target frozen minion, didn't freeze, cost double the mana of this. It was unplayable. Cone of Cold, Ice Barrier, Oasis Ally, the 2
Ice
secrets.
Barrier.
Yeah, and then we jump up to 8 mana for Deep Freeze. So this is not a deck. This is not a deck. It's not a thing. We have nothing to do with this.
Mage, you are not a deck. Get out.
Well, so you draw one of these cards. What do? You freeze minions and you have your 2/3 and your 2 1/1s. Now, if you connect on Frostweave Dungeoneer, it is a very efficient minion that I think is really good. But then you have these cards in your hand or deck, and that's not a good place to be. And think of all the mage spells that you want to play that you cannot include.
Well, and you keep saying can't include, but I mean, this is just a 2/3 body for 3 that also draws a spell, which if I'm playing Spell Mage, is just draw the next card in my deck. But
So if you're playing Spell Mage, you probably don't have this minion in your deck.
Right. Look at you with your logic, your deck building skills. But so, sorry, more to the point is if I'm playing a mage deck with spells in it, I am going to get to draw a card, right? I'm going to get to draw very specifically a spell. Then if it's a frost spell, I get an extra bonus, but is it good enough if it just draws anything? Like if it just draws me a spell, is a 2/3 for 3 with a spell draw on it just a minion I want to play? Because I think the 2 1/1 elementals, and especially if I'm playing Brain Freeze, because you said Brain Freeze, good card. We like Brain Freeze. That's a card that could maybe potentially just go in another type of mage deck. So if I'm drawing a spell with a chance at it being Brain Freeze and giving me this extra bonus, then does that see play? Or if I draw a spell and I don't get the bonus, does that see play? Like, do I care much about the bonus is the point.
So I think the biggest issue for these cards, if you're not guaranteeing the hit, is that your competition is Venomous Scorpid, which is much better at trading. And so just getting one card here for a 2/3 versus a 1/3 poison, I would rather have the Scorpid most of the time, I think. Not always, but I think most of the time.
The Scorpid does come with the spell discover too, right? So you could discover a spell.
It's effectively the same as the drawing the card. Yeah. So I don't know for sure, and I think this is a good test of, you take a card like Knight of Anointment, which is just draw a specific type of spell that you put in your deck. That's a really good rate. What happens if we make that rate a little worse? Is it still worth playing if it comes with a conditional upside? And we're going to find out. I wouldn't be surprised if it does for the remainder of Barons, and I would be surprised if these cards continue to see play unless you're hitting the specific spell type at the end of this year. And so it's really just a question of how much the power level of standard increase in the meantime. But competing directly with Scorpid, we have learned how much better Poison is than we remember in non-Battlegrounds Hearthstone. It's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
It's pretty good. And all the BG players have been telling us, like, we've been trying to tell you the whole time Poison is busted. And we're just like, I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, we'll see. So, yeah, I think that Shaman is the clear winner so far in Dungeoneers. I think that's fair to say. And we'll have to see when or if these kind of cards see play, because they feel fair, right? So when things feel fair and don't make you go, oh, they're doing what? Then I think, they're going to find it difficult to shake up the meta too much, I think.
Yes. Though, draw that doesn't excite you is probably the way to go with draw, because if draw excites you, it's probably super busted. I was very excited the first time I saw 1 mana draw 5 secret passage, and then they immediately nerfed it because there's no way that was okay. So
and I love that you went that way, and I'm just thinking freaking mage and they're refreshing spring water. But if you're getting
that was
psyched,
a good card too.
If you're getting psyched about draw, it's probably too much. I can get on board that train for sure.
Yes. And
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I was going to move on. So if you've got a final point to make.
I was just reminiscing about the stages of excitement about card draw. Of there's like this into the Secret Passage Voracious Reader, which is like, are we sure this is okay? And then into the Skull of Gul'dan at 5 mana, like, that can't be okay. It wasn't okay. So when you go beyond excitement into confusion, that's where like danger is there.
All right. So are you ready to move out of the official Hearthstone realm and over into the dangerous realm of leaks?
Danger. Yes. It seems appropriate for the dungeon.
Right? But yeah, we did have some leaks over the past weekend, and they are okay. First of all, I'm not even going to try to guess what the names of these cards are going to be, but we are going to show them. If you guys don't want to see them, feel free to go somewhere else. But yeah, we are going to show them. We kind of hemmed and hawed about this, but I do think that they are legitimate leaks. The art on one of them does match the art in the promo image for the Druid Legendary card, so I feel like these are valid. So we're going to talk about them. Mostly because otherwise we only had 4 cards. But yeah.
But we've done a good job padding the show so far. We're an hour in. Go
I know,
us.
Right? It's almost like we like talking to each other about this super awesome game. But
funny how that goes.
So this did come from a Russian social media site. And like I said, we are fairly certain that these are real, but we don't know card names, but we do have translated version of their effects. So we have an ooze looking card, which is a 3 mana 3/2, and the translation on it is roughly Death Rattle, summon a 2/2 pilgrim with a random effect. So the information that we got as part of the kind of like PR stuff for this expansion is that we are going to be summoning these 2/2 pilgrims with random effects. So the random effects, I think it's pretty safe to say that basically anything that we're used to seeing on cards as like keyword text is up for, debate, right? So divine shields, rush, poisonous, taunt, lifesteal, wind fury, probably not charge because they don't like to give random things charge anymore.
Probably not charge.
Probably not charge.
I don't know about stealth. Stealth is the one that we don't have confirmed. It looks like currently the first Kazakus pool plus wind fury.
Okay. So pretty safe to say those 6 effects. So you're always going to get a 2/2, and also as far as I understand, they're always going to be 2/2. So there's not going to be like some random +1/+1 buff in this pool either. So you're always going to get a 2/2 token that is summoned, and it's going to have some sort of status effect on top of that. So with that in mind, a 3/2 that summons a 2/2 with one of those status effects. This is again, it's a neutral common card, so anyone can play this. What do you think?
Piloted Shredder.
Definite Shredder vibes.
Yeah. Also, Death Rattle Demon Hunter gets to poop this out from a razor boar. That seems powerful.
So you think this is a Death Rattle Demon Hunter card?
I think it's probably a highly played card, period. So for those of you that didn't play back in our day, Piloted Shredder was a 4-mana 4/3 that was a neutral. When it died, a random 2-drop would drop out. And it was way too powerful for a neutral at the time because there was a lot of really good 2-drops to hit. There were also Doomsayers. So, like, sorry, Reynad, you hit the Doomsayer a bunch of times. But it was above rate compared to every other 4-mana minion at the time because whatever you play, there were a lot of 5/4s, and they would just die, and then your opponent would get to keep something out of the Shredder, and you would have nothing. So it homogenized the format a lot. We're well past that in terms of Hearthstone's history, and also guaranteeing the size of the minion that pops out and making it not some kind of crazy variant effect like a Flame Tongue Totem, which was 2 mana back at the time. This feels a lot safer, and minions are a lot better these days. So I think it looks kind of cool. But it is a neutral and is powerful. I'm a little nervous about having too many powerful neutrals in standard. A little bit.
Yeah, I'm in the same vein of or realm of thinking as you are, where it does feel a lot like Shredder. It even has that same sort of stat line where you've got, 1 more attack than you do health. Obviously, this is 1 less mana, but you're right. Standardizing what's going to pop out of it is a really big deal because those swings, like we talk a lot over the course of the show about just variance in general, variance with randomness and what's good random, what's bad random. And Shredder was very, product of its time, right? Like that's how random worked in Hearthstone. You kind of picked a mana cost and then there was going to be a crazy wide variance from there. Then we started to discover things and we started to say, well, what if we say it's a specific class? What if we narrow that range a little bit? So this is like the epitome of a narrow range. You've gone from like all the 2-drops in the game to very specifically a 2/2 with one of 5 or 6 effects. That's it. Take it or leave it. And I think a lot of people are probably going to take it.
Yeah, it seems solid, and again, it's a fixed adjusted. Yeah, it's a fixed adjusted design, and there are going to be some cards where if you trade into this on your turn and your opponent has it, and they get Divine Shield, you're going to be annoyed, and if they get Rush, you're going to be happy. If they trade on their turn and they get Rush, they're going to be happy. And I like that kind of dynamic replayability that even based on whose turn it is, you're going to have a different experience with the card. But even then, the range is just not that wide. And if you think Shredder RNG was bad, that wasn't even the worst kind of RNG they did back then. They used to put a hyphen in the middle of cards, and just sometimes your removal spells would not work. They just were ineffective. They would deal half the damage. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Crackle. We're not here to talk about Implosion. I think that
Garrett,
this card is interesting. Yeah. I'm just worried that it's an aggressively costed neutral that's proactive. I worry about the format being samey, and people have a lot of feelings about this format being stale, and powerful neutrals historically have made formats more stale, so I hope that there are other options that make more sense to run in some strategies, because I don't want to see this everywhere. But I think
if you're playing a Death Rattle
reasonable.
deck, like if this does find room in Death Rattle Demon Hunter, which I think it probably will, then that's the kind of card I want to see that has a very specific niche that's going to work in a Death Rattle deck, but only one or two people in the format might be, or one or two classes might actually be making that work. So then you see it in those specific decks because it's powerful there. It's not powerful everywhere.
Yep, and it could easily make Death Rattle Hunter good as well, which is an archetype that we really want to see and haven't seen yet. And I will tell you that in both those decks, I want to play True Aim Crescent on turn 1 and this minion on turn 3 and do stuff. I want to do that thing where the thing attacks the thing and then you get the thing. I want to do that thing.
You want to do that stuff?
But also, you like 1/2/2, Joss. What about 5/2/2s?
5/2/2 sounds like a lot of tutus, and you can get those for 7 mana if you are a druid paladin, maybe?
I believe this is a paladin.
I think it's paladin too, but it kind of in the screenshot is a little bit hard to tell, and the only reason I say druid maybe is because druid tends to be the ones that like to fill their boards with tutus. So... But I think you're right. This looks paladin-y, kind of. So druid or paladin, leaning towards paladin for 7 mana, you can summon 5/2/2 pilgrims with random effects. And like we just went over pilgrims and random effects, so I'm not going to do it again. If this is paladin, they don't care. They don't want to do this. Like, why would they want to do this?
They would want to play 4 mana Allura with this, which is why we don't have 4 mana Allura, because this would be used for evil and not for good.
And paladins must always be good. Always.
I mean, right now we're getting some serious Dark Knight vibes. You know the line I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So paladins can already summon boards full of tokens, and that's not a thing they're doing. Like, why would I want to do this with all the other powerful stuff I can do in paladin?
I'm down. Like, I would rather gain 8 life and make an 8/8 taunt divine shield.
Right?
That seems better.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, that's a big heal. You know what effects you're going to get. You know you're going to get divine shield. You know you're going to get taunt. And then you've got 8/8 worth of stats, whereas this technically is 10/10 worth of stats, but I'll take it all in 1/8/8, please. So
and
maybe
also
that's okay though.
Libram.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Libram of Hope is probably cheaper.
Yeah, it's Libram probably is 6 or 5 at this point in the game, if not cheaper than that even. But I think that's actually fine. I want Paladin to get some not so great cards so that the other classes can catch up a little bit, because I feel like we've been playing Paladin in very similar ways for quite a while now. Like, we've been doing Libram things for a bit. So I'm okay if this mini set, they just kind of sit it out while everyone else gets super fun things.
And even then, this isn't terrible. It's not bad. It's just not what you would be doing right now. And I don't know when we do it. And also, it's printed in the same set as Condemn. So there's probably going to be a hard upper limit in how well this card does.
That's fair. Did we want to move on to the next one then, which is a druid card? I know this for surezies.
Yes, let's do that. This is a big thing.
Yes. So
two
big druid things. So the first one we're going to talk about, again, don't know the names of these cards, is an 8 mana 4/9 with text that reads, after you cast a nature spell, so again, a little bit more of that spell school synergy stuff, summon a 4/2 snake with rush. So this is, very, very druidy vibes, and 8 mana, but if there's any class that doesn't care about high cost mana cards, it's probably going to be druid, because this is going to be their turn 4. So be ready for that.
So this is fixed mount seller, I think. I think this is
Yeah.
fixed mount seller.
That's fair.
And
I think it has a beast tag. It definitely has a tag at the bottom. But again, I don't read Russian, so I'm pretty sure it says beast because that's what would make sense on this card. So that's what I'm going to go with.
It looks like a bird snake, so I'm gonna go with beast.
A bird snake.
Because, like, I don't know, maybe we'll come back and it'll be like a Murloc, and it's like that's a weird looking Murloc. But I think we can call this a beast,
to say, yeah.
which would also make Living Seed make a lot more sense. Because that's the ranked druid spell that draws a beast and reduces its cost. So if you play that on turn 5, then this costs 6 going into turn 6, and then you bloom out of nature studies, and then you got a couple rushers. That seems pretty good. Yeah, Nature Druid didn't really take off, and this seems like a good thing to do in whatever that deck is. I still don't know what Nature Druid is doing other than this.
Does this give you kind of like Beast Druid vibes where you can see the line, you know where they're trying to go, but you just don't think they're there yet?
I definitely think that if I'm playing this, I am playing Living Seed, and this is my only beast. And I just want to get this thing and then load up my deck with nature spells. And then maybe we have some other high end. But you're probably not doing Guardian Animals with this. You could, I guess. Or maybe you do Primordial Protector with this and go Clowns. But you can ramp into this and then build your own turn after turn Guardian Animals if you have enough spells. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but 4/2 rushers are good if you get them a lot for free.
Yeah, and especially when, like you mentioned, Lightning Bloom being a nature spell itself and then enabling you to cast more things because of the extra mana generation. If the more things you're casting are more nature spells, then you're going to start to kind of stack up these 4/2 rushing snakes, and then I think that in the end is going to be a pretty powerful turn. So there's ways to play this. I just don't know if they're quite there yet. Although if you do like nature spells and you're a druid, then you might like a 6 mana 3/7, which is the Druid Legendary, which, though again I don't read Russian, my guess for this card is that she is Lady Anacondra that we talked about earlier on when we talked about the lore of Wailing Caverns, the dungeon. So that's kind of my guess for her. And her text on her card reads, your nature spells cost 2 less. So if you are doing lightning bloomy things and you've got her on board and you get this guy out, then, you know, you're just doing all kinds of crazy shenanigans.
So I looked up Lady Anacondra. She's a druid of the Fang that likes dealing with snakes. I think you're on the money here. I mean, to be fair, all the druids in Wailing Caverns are druids of the Fang that like snakes. There was a lot of like copy paste. They all also had the ability to put a random player to sleep, and that was something I meant to talk about earlier on, but we kind of went past it. But I think sleep might be a really cool, like, not obviously she's making your nature spells cost less, but like if they somehow incorporated sleep into Hearthstone, I think it could be kind of cool. Like if you could just like target an enemy minion and put them to sleep and then they miss their next attack, kind of like Frozen, or maybe you make them dormant so you can't actually kill them. I don't know. Maybe there's something there. I'm not a designer. But yeah, Druid of the Criparian, put target minion to sleep, and then like listen, I fall asleep to crypt videos like most nights. I'm just saying. He's got a soothing voice.
Craptasm in the chat room is saying none of this addresses Druid's removal problems, does it? Well, I mean, there's definitely something to be said if you can get quite a few nature spells off when you've got Unnamed Beast on board. Those 4/2 rushers, they're nothing to sneeze at. They only have 2 health, so if you're running them into stuff, they're probably going to die, so you're not going to have to worry about like choking up your board. And if you are lightning blooming and then playing another nature spell and then maybe lightning blooming again and playing more, then you're going to be able to rush a whole bunch of stuff into your opponent's stuff. So they're kind of removal. Well, they are removal with extra conditions, I guess. It's not just like Naturalize was, right? Like
It's more work than guardian animals for the first removal round, and less work for future if it lives, which it probably does if the first round clears the board. Like I imagine it's a little bit more snowballing.
So I think it's going to be difficult to remove, and it's the kind of minion that even if it gets like, say, I don't know, frozen, if you're playing the Frostweave Dungeoneer as a mage and you're looking for those brain freezes. I'm stretching, I know, but I'll get there.
Boy, you're really selling it here.
I know, right? But even if it gets like frozen or whatever, like you don't really care about this minion's attack. The thing that you want out of this minion is those 4/2 rushers that are going to help you control the board, right? So you just want this to stick at 9 health. It's probably going to, and then you can just kind of go off your next turn, right? So maybe.
and Ophidian pointed out in chat as well, Ironbark, nature spell. Pretty important. Because that's make this into a 12 health taunt and summon a 4/2 snake with rush or whatever it summons.
4/2 snake with rush. Yep.
Yeah, I would a 5/12. That's large butt. It's a big butt.
that's a big butt of minion.
Like that's 12. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's like a Witchwood Grizzly.
Oh man, remember those?
They do. They were bears.
They were bears.
Well, no, they were ghosts, but with the beast tag, and they said, "Oh, well, ghost can't be beast, so we'll just make it brown instead of blue." That was a real thing that happened.
Oh gosh, I forgot.
Yeah. No one remembers the Witchwood Grizzly.
No one does. No one does. So that's it. That's all we have for cards right now. Half official, half leaks. We'll have to see what comes out tomorrow and Wednesday. As far as I understand, scheduling wise, maybe we're going to be doing a show on Thursday. So do stay here. Well, don't stay here. Don't stay here all the way from Monday till Thursday, but come back to twitch.tv/amovetv and do check us out on Thursday. Again, I think asterisk follow us and watch us on Twitter to see if we're going to actually be back on Thursday. I think we are. But again, yeah, not 100% sure. But we will have all the cards to talk about at that time. So yeah, there's still, what did we say? So 31 cards to come out officially, 27 if you count these leaks as real. So we've still got quite a lot of cards to see in the next 2 days. I'm excited. I'm excited.
It's going to be 3 days from now when we're scheduled to record. It's going to be a very different ball game. There will be more cards. There will be more hosts. There will be a new patch.
That's true.
There's
a whole new world.
Be a lot going on. Yes, a new exciting point of view.
I was like, is he gonna sing? Is he gonna sing?
Not sing, but it's
recite.
I'm thinking of it. Yes, I'm kind of tone deaf. It's okay.
That's okay. Me too. So before we do end the show, I wanted to take a little bit of time because Garrett's not here this week, so I can talk about esports if I want to talk about esports, and we're going to talk about esports because Grandmasters has just finished their, I guess, regular season. We have one more week of Grandmasters. It's coming up this weekend. It is going to be the playoffs. As we mentioned earlier, they are going to be playing on the new patch, which is going to include the mini set. So goes live on Thursday, and they're going to get right into her. So I'm kind of in the same realm of thinking as you are, Hat, when saying they're probably not going to bring Shaman, go too off the rails.
No.
Unless there's some like win Grandmasters thing. I don't know, but yeah, we'll have to see. But I don't think they're gonna go too crazy. But they still will have new cards, so maybe we'll see some new strategies. Who knows? Who knows? But we did have our, like I said, our regular season ended yesterday, this past weekend. And so with that came not only who made it to playoffs, but also who was relegated. And Hat, I wanted to get your take on how this relegation felt for you, because this is the first time we haven't had a playoff for relegation. This is the first time after 7 weeks of Swiss tournaments and everything else and everybody racking up points. This is the first time that it's just been bottom 4, you're out of here. So how do you feel about that?
So my issue with relegation goes back to the beginning of GM. how they do it doesn't matter a ton to me, because each week when we know there's going to be relegation, it sucks every time, because there's no landing spot for these players. There's no thing they do after relegation. You see twitlongers, people retire, they move on, and the people that are near the bottom of the standings in the last few weeks of the season play worse and feel worse and talk about both. And it's a really punishing system because there's no safety net, there's no intermediate stepping stone, and I don't even know if they have to spend more money on it. It's like, just take away the salary and make it something that people get to be in if they fall out of, and then make it, maybe you get invites but you don't pay them, and maybe you don't stream them as much. Just something, some kind of landing spot for people to work their way back in, or decide if they want to be out, and make it a little bit less variable. But as of right now, just if you lose out of Grandmasters, we found that it's just ending careers. There are very few people that have left GM and stayed in highly competitive Hearthstone, outside of people that have quit because they wanted to stream. And those are the people that are doing the best financially, but also we don't have them in the competitive scene. Silver Name is going to be Silver Name, Dog is going to be Dog, but they're not playing competitively. They're doing the thing that makes money in 2021, which is content.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know, like, you could see the stress in the games, like, when you watch them, but I don't think that it felt any better or worse than other events. Like, even the relegation tournaments, the brackets, those were so stressful, and you could tell that everyone is, like, really, like, they were in their own heads. This was a lot more end of regular season, it is what it is. But there were funky scenarios all day where people were running numbers and like, all right, if this happens and this happens and this person makes it and this person doesn't.
Did give the casters something to talk about, right? Like, at least that there was kind of something going on. I guess I think I preferred the, I guess, call it a spin maybe, that we got this time versus previous Grandmaster seasons, because previous Grandmaster seasons had one relegation game each day, right? So you had your first relegation day or game on Friday, and then Saturday, and then Sunday. So if, you know, someone was in Group A and they lost the relegation on Friday, they had to play again on Saturday. And you saw many people get eliminated through that 3-day kind of mini tournament, or whatever you want to call it, facing elimination match day after day after day, that maybe wouldn't have been eliminated if they had a different format, because just like watching them devolve day after day, when you had those people who lost on Friday from Group A and going through those relegations, I think probably Hunter Ace is the kind of biggest example that pops into my head. Like, when you watched him lose those 3 days in a row, you were like, now we don't have Hunter Ace. Like, how do we have competitive Hearthstone without Hunter Ace? And it was this like sad thread that went all the way through the weekend, as people were kind of like, wait, what is happening right now? Like, what is going on? So I think that I prefer this because it feels a lot more like the end of the season, like the cumulative result. It feels like there's less like focus on it, I guess. But I think the biggest problem, and you know, whether this is a points distribution problem or what, I don't know, or like you say, a hat, I 100% agree with you. And this comes up at the end of every Grandmaster season around relegation, where we say there needs to be somewhere for them to go that maybe isn't all the way back to square one in the Masters Tour, but is not Grandmasters. There needs to be an in-between. And I bring up Rocket League quite often because they basically have like an A League and a B League, and you don't see too much of the B League, but basically what happens is at the end of an RLCS season is you get the bottom of the A League playing the top of the B League, and if you win that tournament, then you go up to A, and if you don't, then you go and you play in B. And it just, it's a little bit of a safety net. And like, I think that's what these players need, because what we saw happen this season, and we saw it happen with Muzzy in North America, we saw it happen with Surrender in APAC, we saw it happen with Casey, who didn't end up getting relegated. Actually, none of those three players I just mentioned ended up getting relegated, but literally leading into this weekend, we're all thinking they were going to get relegated. Like, Surrender tweeted out and was like, hey, you know, like, I'm probably going to be gone next week. Thanks, everybody. Casey said, I'm going to need to focus on something other than Hearthstone because this is stressful as F. And, Muzzy was in the same situation where, like, literally because of his performance in NA this past weekend, he went from a relegation spot to a playoff spot. Like, that's a huge swing in one weekend. So I'm wondering if there's something to do with the points distribution that needs to make their futures more obvious, because I can't imagine being one of those players, or like some of them, like Impact has had an inkling for weeks that probably they weren't going to do very well and they were going to be out. They hadn't been performing. Zim is another one. We talked about the controversy around Zim a couple weeks ago with potential win trading. By the way, I don't think we ever actually covered what happened with that, but Blyze's was penalized, though we don't know the penalty, for an unrelated incident that broke the rules that same weekend. So read into that however you want to. They basically said, nope, wasn't win trading, but we dinged him for something else unrelated. Okay, but like we covered a couple weeks ago, Zim was one of those people who was in the bottom of his region and fears of relegation, blah, 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 and that ended up playing out. So people who are at the bottom of the league probably have a pretty good idea for a few weeks what their fate might be. But others, like, that are on that cusp, like, there's just such a big difference that maybe we need to, I don't know, make things more obvious, if you even can. I don't know. But it seems like we're getting closer. From a broadcast and viewer perspective, I think this was better. I just don't think this is good for players in their mental health, because in the series of Muzzy versus, like, Language Hacker, again, somebody who was very close to, that relegation line for a lot of the season and had some really bad beats, including a loss to Muzzy. Like, if this hadn't happened, oh man, I feel like I want to talk about this because it was just I thought he was just gonna, I don't know, explode in his chair. Like, Muzzy, if you guys didn't watch, Muzzy played, okay, let me see if I can I know Hat, you can tell me if I get this wrong. So Wand Thief into Evocation.
Correct. So it wasn't played the same turn. I believe the Evocation was generated a previous turn.
Yes. But he played Evocation when he was going to be dead the next turn to the Alexstrasza in Language Hacker's hand.
Yeah. He was going to pass the turn at 8 life going into 9 mana,
yes.
Which anyone that has played this format understands that means dead. That's what that means.
That is super dead. So off the Evocation, what did he get? He got, oh man, now I'm forgetting.
Orb.
Oh, right. It was.
Yeah.
Wait, Orb into Yoink?
Correct.
Into getting a free hero power, which if it hadn't been free, he wouldn't have been able to do it. Hit out of all of the 10 options, managed to hit the priest, which he was then able to heal himself out of danger, and Language Hacker lost the game. And so it was just like, it was a created by, which, once you get that far down the RNG rabbit hole, amazing moment for Muzzy, not so amazing moment for Language Hacker, and the viewers were somewhere in between. Like, no matter who you were rooting for in that scenario, you were kind of just like, damn.
And of course, Muzzy set himself up with all the choices he'd made prior to be in this position, and weaker players wouldn't have found the line. And also, in terms of just pure execution, this was all of those things were while the rope was burning.
Yes.
And Muzzy figured out how to beat the animation speed somehow. I don't know how, because it looked like the turn was over and then stuff kept happening. It was very much like a highly executed, highly variant lucky outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And that determined who made playoffs. Yeah. And of course there were a bunch of other compound decisions leading into that, but
yeah. And many weeks, and this is the thing too, it's also many weeks of competition, right? And I like this format a whole lot more, being just one pool of players instead of being split into A and B. And they did have a couple of weeks to figure out who was going to go in A and B and get all their seeding and stuff. But then it felt like players are really stuck in their silo, right? And there was no interaction between until you hit playoffs and relegation, right? So I like this better, with just everybody playing everybody over multiple different formats. But in the end, 4 of the 8 weeks are still Conquest, so you get a little sprinkling of other formats, but it's still half Conquest, right? So I don't know. Overall, I'm happier with this season of Grandmasters, but I think that there's still some kind of fundamental issues with the system that they got to figure out. And I don't know, it's not like this is the very first time there's been like competitive card, or I mean, like even like board games, if you want to look at chess, like this isn't the first time there's been these competitive like leagues. I don't know why we keep reinventing the wheel and can't find something that's working somewhere else and apply it to Hearthstone, unless nobody's figured this out anywhere, which also could be the case because I don't follow competitive chess, so unless it's the Queen's Gambit, that was excellent.
Yes, very good, and very much like Magic tournaments when I was growing up. Very much those like local competition vibes. But as far as leagues and other card games that are working well, Magic just deleted theirs, so that's a different story.
Okay, maybe that's what Hearthstone needs to do. Like, maybe we're not an esport.
So this would be really great content if there wasn't the negative externality of ending extremely tenured careers if you get low rolled. Like, that shouldn't happen. That's the part that sucks. And it's only the tenured careers, because if you get into Grandmasters in the first half a year by making a ton of money, you can be last place when you get in and then still be in Grandmaster again because you relegate and you insta bounce back in. So it heavily favors the people that earn their way in, which I guess is a good thing. But they basically have the safety net if they win the first half of the year, but they don't if they win in the second half of the year.
Something like that. Yeah, I remember it being very odd.
And they changed that with the point system. I have no idea how it works. People talk about these tiebreakers on Twitter. I just like, whenever they update the website, and by they, I mean Donkey and Donkey.top, not the official website, because I just go to Donkey's page. Whenever that gets updated and tells me who the GMs are, then I just do whatever that page says. But it's right now we're ending extremely tenured careers every season, and that needs to stop happening. So I don't know the solution to that not happening, but I feel like a B League is pretty easy to do.
It's very hard, right? Because I mean, in terms of tenured careers, I think like in relegation, we saw both Bunny Hopper and Tom 60229, a former world champion, get kicked out, right? Get relegated. And on the one hand, it sucks to see former world champions removed from competitive Hearthstone, but all of the GMs get invited to all of the Masters Tour events, and they don't have to do anything else. They don't have to play their way in like any of these other players, right? Like invites are part of your prize for being in the Grandmasters program. So especially now where we're talking about online only events because of the pandemic over the last year and a half, I don't want to say they don't have any excuses, but maybe they're not taking Masters Tours as seriously as Grandmasters, or feeling secure, or what. Like, I don't really know what the thought process there is, but I don't like, some GMs seem to make it really far in Masters Tours and some don't. And maybe if they focused more on Masters Tours and making sure that they also had that bounce back potential, then they wouldn't be facing relegation, right? Or they'd be facing relegation, but it wouldn't matter because they'd be right back in because of their prize or points totals. I feel like a dick, and like I shouldn't even be saying these things. Like I really, really do. These are all very good and talented players, and I feel like that's also part of the problem is we have more than 16 players in each region who are deserving to be playing at the highest level, right? Like,
well, we have more than 16 in Europe. I mean, it's like, I wonder if the players that are taking this seriously, if the answer is just if you're European, just move to NA,
right?
And then you're fine. Because it's pretty incredible it's pretty incredible how dense Europe is and how deep Europe goes. And if you look at the earnings leaderboard and the points leaderboard for GM promotion, it's I believe
like
Monsanto
we have this discussion
said
a lot too.
yeah, I believe Monsanto said he got promoted to EU GM. If you look at the top 20 of current GM promotion people, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 13 are from Europe. Yeah. 13 of the top 20. Those people would be GMs. There's in the top 20. Guess how many are from the Americas region?
1.
You're off by 1.
Oh no, none.
Zero.
Ouch.
The first player in the Americas region for GM promotion is Just Saying, who quit. He just quit.
Wow.
So the first one that didn't quit is Kalis Luna, who had a great performance at the last Masters Tour, and that's number 1 at 36th place.
Wow.
So they have really uneven region distribution, and they're region locked, they're server locked, but it's not fair because more players of this caliber that are competing live in Europe. And so it's just not going to be fair, and that already weights the scales. That as long as you region lock it, even though they're playing on super accounts that I believe are not region locked, as long as you do that, it's not going to be a fair system. And the quality of the players eliminated from Europe is going to be really high.
Yeah, I think that part of that has to do potentially maybe, again, don't work for Hearthstone Esports. I don't know what all the conversations are or how they decide these things, but you can play ladder now and make your way into this system, like earn points towards Grandmasters, which is the only thing, because I do believe that you're right about these super accounts that they can just, play in one big pool. But as long as ladder, which is region locked because it has to be open to everybody, as long as ladder plays into the system at the highest end, then I think you still have to have those like regional silos. But I do agree we should probably figure out a way to get rid of that, because even if you like took the legend players and like had them play a tournament or like, I don't know, but again, if nobody's figured this out and Magic just deleted their entire competitive scene, then, like maybe there is no, I guess we can definitely say there's no easy answer, but it just feels like there's a lot of holes that still need to be plugged in this system, because the regional inequity is quite obvious and has been a problem for a very long time, because I feel like we've had, again, alongside the relegation conversation, we've had those regional conversations as well over the last few years of Grandmasters. So I don't know what the answer is. I hope someone at Hearthstone Esports does, because there's I think still a lot of issues with the system. But from a viewer perspective, it was really good to watch this time around. I really enjoyed season 1 of 2021. I think that the relegations felt better in terms of like creating really big fun stories on the final weekend before playoffs, instead of like super sad playoff weekends, because that was the other thing, that relegations were happening at the same time. So it's like you'd have the relegation and be like, we're kicking this person out and this person wins, and that just no one is able to process that range of emotions so, as a viewer. It's a good storyline in a movie, but these are real people's careers that we watch for years, and then they just lose and they're just gone forever. It's devastating. Oh, forever. Oh man. Yeah. We need a solution to that, but we are not going to figure out what that solution is right now. We are going to end the show because we've been going. Hat, I can't believe you and I, man, we just love this game. We talk so much. It's so good, but so long. You were worried we weren't going to have enough, and I was like, well, we got 8 whole cards. That'll be an hour by itself. And you're like, what? And it's like, oh, come on. Come on. It's you. It's me. It's 8 cards. It's an hour at least. It's Mutanus. Yeah. It's Mutanus. Right? So that is going to do it for us for the show tonight. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching, joining us in general. A reminder that The Angry Chicken is supported by our epic patrons. You can become a patron of The Angry Chicken by going to patreon.com/TAC. That's patreon.com/TAC. When you become a TAC patron, you get access to our Discord, as well as other perks like early entry into our taco tournaments, which will be coming sometime soon. Also, we wanted to thank our Patreon producers, Declan H, Cheesy Bob, and Jeffrey D. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show like you do every single freaking week. You can catch us live on Monday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/amovetv. Joce, where can folks find you? Oh, thanks, Invisible Garrett. That wasn't weird. I know, everything's in the normal order that we do things, and that was stupid. So we're gonna pretend I never said that. And Hat, where can people... that's staying in the show. I do the editing. It's staying in. No. You cannot escape. Hat, where can people find you if they're looking for your stuff online?
The best place to find me is twitter.com/ridiculoushat. That's where I say things, and all my other things are linked there. So just go there. But also, I talk about Hearthstone on 3 podcasts. This is one of them, coinconcede.com. It's a place where we bridge the gap from competitive to casual, much like we did today when talking about the tournament stuff. We do, if you like that thing, we do more of that stuff over there, along with an educational focus. And then Vicious Syndicate, we do a deep dive using the data on the standard metagame. Though also this past week, we did another educational focused episode on metadynamics because everyone's just waiting for new cards. So yeah, it's fun. And Invisible Garrett, where can people find you?
You can find Garrett over on Twitter at GarrettArt, or you can check out nomoonart.com for his stream designs. Also check out amove.tv. That is where all of his shows are, including this one, as well as Into the Nexus. Let's talk about Star Wars. And oh, nope, that's it. That's all he does. And you can find me. I'm Joce at Joce Plays. You can also go and check out The Gamers Inn. I'm actually not sure what we're going to be talking about this week. We'll have to see. I don't even know. I was going to say Mass Effect, but we're talking about Mass Effect forever. In a good way.
Horizon 2? Horizon 2.
They didn't give us a date, Hat, and I'm so sad. All I want to do is
Yeah,
throw my money
years.
at them. Like a bajillion dollars. Just give me a release date and a collector's edition console, and you could take all my dollars. All of them. Just take them.
Yeah. That's what I was hoping to do at E3 for Silksong, but then they said, no, we're not going to say anything about Silksong at E3, and I said, oh, I'm sad now.
Yeah, so on that totally depressing note, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you guys so much for listening. Job's done.
Job's done.
We did it.
We did it.
Totally screwed it up like 18 times.
Oh, it's fine. It was charming. It was charming. I'm going to stop this
Thanks.
recording. I need the outro bumper, which it's in the Dropbox here somewhere.
It should be
I'm
in the
sure, but I
Dropbox,
looked
yeah.
Yeah, I looked in a bunch of places, but I'll find it. Let's see. There it is. It was apparently
Yeah.
last viewed by me. Okay. Thanks, past me.
Yeah, all personal stuff at the end. I'm like, Joce, where can you be found? Uh-oh. Don't just read the notes straight up, Joce. That's a stupid thing to do.
No, I think that was entertaining. I'm entertained.
Are you not entertained?
Hey, chat. Thanks for being here. We
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks
you.
for hanging out. That was a fun show. I love talking about esports, even if it's the same conversation every 6 months. I don't even care.
I wish it was a little different, and like, I don't know, the ESL production is clearly an upgrade, and they know what they're doing with production, and Saddle's voice sounds fine every time, unlike before where it didn't. Problem is that the entertainment value is built on ending careers, and you can't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can do that, but I wish they didn't do that.
Yeah. There's some really, really feel bad moments. And I don't know if it's because there's no B League, because there's like not enough money necessarily in Grandmasters to make grinding your way back in feel worth it versus just straight up content creation. Like, I don't know, but it sure does feel like we're getting a whole lot of twit longers. I'm done with the game. Yeah, or
Well,
like
we don't hear from the new up and coming players that are excited to keep grinding because
Yeah.
they don't have anything to twit long about. And maybe the old tenured players are ready to be done, and that's okay, and
Yeah.
they can be done.
which I think was the
but-
case in
yeah.
a few different cases, right? Like Casey specifically
Yeah.
was saying, like, look, I didn't get relegated, still in, but I'm not going to be making Hearthstone my primary focus anymore because I just can't. So, and I think a lot of that does come from just this constant fear of relegation with no safety net, right? Like, that's just got, even like from day one of a Grandmasters season, that's gotta just be like, cause like, you're right. It's a career, right? They're not looking at this like, hey, I'm going to make a quick buck, because it's money, but it's not like quick buck never work again money, right? So I mean, they're basically saying, I'm going to completely and utterly devote my entire life to this for a couple of years if I'm lucky, and then come out of it on the other side with a normal salary and then do what? Like, I don't know. It's my point. They're not making millions playing Hearthstone unless they're content creators.
And I think a lot of the value in this, something that could happen, if I were working for the company and I had a person to pay to do this, I would hire a brand manager to help the players turn their position in Grandmasters into a streaming brand. Like, how do you become a visible content creator from this GM notoriety? Because that gives you a huge boost.
It
but
does,
a lot of these people
definitely.
and some people don't want to stream, and that's fine. But if they wanted to and didn't know how, and if you had a person there that would help you become a brand, like turn your position into a brand, I think that'd be really valuable.
Or even just like some sort of person to help you figure out what you did want to do with what Hearthstone gives you or what Grandmasters gives you at the end of it. Like some sort of like transition person that, like you said, like teaches you how to make a brand or teaches you how to write about the game or, you know, puts you in touch with someone who will help you with game development. If what you really want to do is be behind the scenes instead of in front of the camera all the time, like give them some sort of like path, like an exit strategy, right? Instead of just like, thanks for creating all that content for us. And, you know, we really made a buck off of your suffering. Have a nice life. There's the door, boot. Like,
yeah. I think there's opportunity there.
Yeah, I think there could be. But anyways, guys, we're going to call it there. We got to get some posts up and some edits done and all that fun stuff. So thanks for hanging out with us on the stream that I managed to get working. Thumbs up. And we'll see you guys maybe even as early as Thursday. We have tentative, probably plans to record an episode on Thursday after we've got all the cards and we've had an afternoon to kind of play around with the set a little bit. So make sure if you're not following Twitch, hit the little heart button down below somewhere over there ish. Turn those
It's below me.
notifications on.
Point to the bottom left corner.
Nope.
There.
Nope.
That's your other left. That's Canadian left.
It's over
yes,
there.
American
down,
left.
down.
There you go. Yes.
Down there. Yeah. Go hit that.
Yeah.
And or follow us over on Twitter. We are at TAC Podcast over on Twitter, and we will definitely be putting out a tweet when we're going live. So keep your eye open for that, and we'll see you guys later. Bye, peeps.
All right.